Good day, I'm Cadet Povadora from Group 4 and we're going to describe the proper procedure or sequence in mooring and anchoring. So next slide. Anchoring is as frequent operation on board as loading and unloading a cargo, and also it is a routine job. Number of incidents during anchoring or while at anchor suggests that we might not have yet mastered the art of anchoring a ship effectively. Knowing about the correct anchoring procedures and their limitations is one of the best way to avoid anchoring related fatalities and damages. So next slide. How an anchor holds the ship. So when an anchor is dropped, the crown of the anchor is the first to hit the sea bottom. As the ship moves back, the flukes takes its position and embed itself into the seabed. Doesn't matter from what height the anchor is dropped, the crown will always hit the bottom first. The flukes will only dig into the seabed once the ship moves up and the flukes are facing downwards into the sea bottom. Opposite happens when we pick up the anchor. When the chain is all picked up, the flukes face upward and gets uprooted from the bottom. So next slide. This is how an anchor holds the ship. Next.
So, good day, sir. So, I'm Deck Cadet Capo Jovert S. So, I'm going to talk about the International Association on Classification Societies. So, there are three types of anchors. So, such as the normal holding power anchors. The second is the high holding power anchors. And the third one is the super high holding power anchors. So, International Association on Classification Society TISOR, or the IACS governs the rules of for anchors. So, for the scope of the anchor cable, so first is the correct scope is essential for safe anchoring and better holding of the anchor. Next is the scope is the ratio of the depth of the water to the length of the cable deployed. Next is the more the scope, better an anchor will hold the ship. Next is the idea of having more scope is that the angle of chain with respect to sea bottom should be minimum. And the last one is more the angle, lesser the holding power. So and the next is the preparing the anchor. So there are three types to prepare the anchor. So first is preparing the vessel for anchoring can start days before arrival. The second is the master check the charts for marked anchorage areas day before arrival. And the last but not the least, so anchorage area for the vessel could also be suggested in the agent's pre-arrival message.
So good evening. So is the continuation about the preparing of anchor. So anchorage area must be physically checked in the chart to ensure that the following will be it is designated for the ship type. The depth complies with the underkeel clearance or UKC requirement of the company. Depths are less than the maximum depth of ship can anchor. Fourth is the anchorage is clear of any cables, pipeline, rights, or the obstructions. Fifth is the nature of the seabed is appropriate for anchoring. When checking the charts for underwater obstructions, attention should be paid to the chart symbol hashtag. So this symbol means there is a foul ground and shall be avoided for anchoring. So it is also important to be aware of ships' windlass lifting capacity. Thus, the most ships' windlass are able to lift the weight of the anchor and about 3 shackles.
Anchoring procedure. Prior to any anchoring operation, crew involved in operation is gathered and toolbox meeting is held. During toolbox meeting, risk assessment is carried out and crew involved in operation are being familiarized with dangers involved in operation in hand. Once captain calls anchor proceed to anchor station, crew is well prepared and ready for task in hand. So next slide. Master identifies a suitable anchoring position before entering the anchorage area. Conducts a planned approach including speed reduction ample time or letting the ship head prior anchoring. Once the ship is close to anchorage area, crew is called to anchor station. The chief officer or another experienced officer in liability must supervise letting go or weighing the anchors and should only assign experienced crew members to anchor work. Master decides on which method of anchoring to be used and the number of shackles depending on the depth of water, expected weather, and holding ground.
So I'm Cadet Rodas and I will continue our discussion. So in simple rule in determining length of the cable to use. So first, in standard condition, length of cable is equal to depth of the water in meters times 2 close parenthesis plus 90 degree divided by 27.5. So number 2, when good holding power cannot be expected, strong wind, strong current, harder sea bottom, is length of cable is equal to depth of the water in meters times 3 close parenthesis plus 140 divided by 27.5. So in prior to anchoring, the chief officer should be aware of first, approximate anchoring position, second, method of approach, third, which an anchor to use, fourth, depth of water, fifth, method of anchoring, sixth, final amount of chain cable to be lowered.
I am Cadet Sagang. Procedure to the introduction to anchoring at the forecastle. First is to check brakes are on, clear the voyage securing devices, anchor lashings, bow compressed bar, etc. Second, start hydraulic power of windlasses. Third, check anchor shape or light. Fourth, check communication with the bridge. Fifth, check lighting on forecastle including torch at night. 6. Ensure all personnel are wearing safety helmets, safety shoes, and goggles. Before letting go anchor, first the chief officer shall confirm that there is no craft or any obstacle under the bow and inform to the bridge. Second, the master should ensure that the vessel's GPS speed at the time of anchoring is near zero or indicates a slight sternway. Third, the speed should be verified by visual transits and or radar range of landmarks if available or other fixed conspicuous targets.
So the next one is the routine anchoring operation. So in routine anchoring operation, there are two methods according to the depth of the water. So the first method is preferable to container ships depth up to 50 meters. So first, walk out the anchor to half a shackle above the sea bottom. Second, hold the cable on a brake and take the windlass out of gear. Third, stop the vessel over ground. Fourth, drop the anchor. Fifth, control the speed of cable flow by the brake while not allowing pile up. The last one is to bring anchor cable direction forward and confirm anchor holds its position. So the second method of the routine anchoring operation is suggested for tankers depth over 50 meters. So first, stop the vessel over ground, and then second, walk out the anchor under power until the complete length of required cable is paid out and anchor holds its position on the seabed. Third, bring anchor cable direction forward and confirm anchor hold its position. And that's all for the routine anchoring operation. Thank you.
Mooring. Mooring is the operation performed first and foremost by the deck crew as the ship reaches the port. But it is also one of the most difficult, complex, and dangerous jobs on board. Mostly things turn out safely, but sometimes an accident occurs, and this usually has severe consequences. How to moor safely. Always wear the correct personal protective equipment or PPE, which is important part proper preparation, considering that PPE is the last line of defense. Always consider whether you are in snapback zone and never stand on either open line or close bright of line. Keep an eye out for all members of the team if you think they are in unsafe position. Alert them. All operations need to be carried out calmly without rushing about pushing leads to slips, trips, and falls. Never lose sight of what is going on around you and have an escape route from many likely danger. That is, avoid being trapped against the bulwark or other obstacle when a line parts. Always put an eye onto a bollard or beach by holding the eye either on each side or by a messenger line to avoid getting fingers trapped against the bollard if the line suddenly snaps tight. Never heave blindly on a line when no one is watching what is happening at the other end.
The picture should be the turning circle loaded condition with a maximum rudder angle half ahead RPM. Merchant ships usually turn its circle having the diameter of about 3-4 times the length between perpendiculars. LBP, the larger the rudder, the smaller will be the turning circle diameter. TCD, during the TCD maneuver, the ship will be experience transfer, advanced drift angles, and angle of heel.
As we can see in the illustration, the crew is stepping on the fiber mooring line and put it between the two posts. The main reason for this is to make the mooring line steady and increase the friction of the fiber mooring line for easier control. While the crew is making the mooring line more steady, but provided the crew is experienced and aware of what's happening around him. So here are the most common risks in mooring, including the equipment, work process, crew qualification, crew concentration, ship safety culture, and weather. So here are the risks for equipment. Use of old damaged wire, poor equipment, poorly designed mooring system, no overview of mooring area, hazard or tripping. So the risk for work process is the lack of communication and planning, poor wire or line handling. So communication in mooring is a must. We should also listen to others and communicate if there is a problem. And in planning, we should also plan the risk and the snapback zone so that we can avoid the injuries. So here are the risks for crew qualification. Number 1, lack of knowledge about the hazards of the job. Number 2, unclear instruction. Number 3, lack of information. Number 4, lack of supervision. Number 5, small untrained deck crew. And number 6 is ineffective onboard mooring training without identifying and understanding the dangers associated with snapback zones. The risk for crew concentration is stress and fatigue, though it is very common to feel because sometimes we miss our loved ones, but we should also concentrate on what we are doing and always keep in mind the word safety first. So here are the rest for ship's safety culture. Number 1. Procedure not followed. 2. Shortcuts taken. Number 3. Standing in the wrong place or in the snapback zones. Number 4. Standing or walking on a bike. Number 5. Walking over a wire. Number 6. Quick mooring versus safe mooring. Number 7. No risk assessment process prior to mooring operation. Number 8. Cluttered mooring area. Number 9. Cluttered deck. The risk for weather is icy or slippery deck. This is very dangerous because you might slip and go to the mooring lines or snapback zone. That is why we need to use the proper PPE and always keep safe.